to the LampLighters podcast, a hockey talk podcast for the fans, by the fans. I'm Zachary Hampton, along with Jalen Corver and Lauren Smith. We welcome you. Tonight, it's our in-depth look at the NHL offseason. Who are the winners? Who are the losers? Will anything else happen? Our panel breaks it all down. Also, we'll debate offer sheets. Will they occur at some point? Should the Oilers fear losing Leon Draisaitl? Finally, we'll hold a trivia shootout as Jalen looks to finally get on the board. So sit back, relax, and enjoy as we light up these topics and light up each other as we drop the puck on another edition of the LampLighters podcast. Let's get right to it. The NHL offseason is just over a month in, and many teams have already begun to make substantial changes. From free agency to significant trades, teams all across the league continue to look for the right combination of size, speed, and skill that will take them to Stanley Cup glory. However, not all off seasons were created equal. Some teams had success while others left their fans scratching their heads. Jalen, your experience watching the game, what really defines a successful off season for a team?
I think a successful off season for a team would mean addressing their needs the most. Not necessarily adding the biggest player, but looking at how you did the previous season and then fixing the holes. If you need goaltending, go get goaltending. If you need that number one pairing defenseman, you go out and get him. If you need a third pairing defenseman, you go out and get him. You want to fill all those holes. And I think if you can go out and do that, I think that's pretty definitive of a good offseason.
Well, making sure you don't overpay at the same time too, right?
Exactly, yeah, for sure.
So, without further ado, what team do you think followed that model the best?
I hate to sound homerish, but I have to go. I think one of the teams that did that the best was the Calgary Flames this offseason. They went out, redid their whole goaltending tandem first off, got Mike Smith and Eddie Lack. I think Mike Smith is due for a good season here. I think he got stuck behind a bad team out in Arizona. He's got one of the best defensive cores in the whole league in front of him now. Blocking shots, taking away those shooting lanes. I think that'll raise his numbers quite a bit, and as long as he can stop puck every so often, I think he'll be okay in the Flames' net. And I think Eddie Lack also just needs a second chance. You never know. And if it doesn't work, then they got a whole bunch of goaltending prospects coming up.
Well, let's talk about Smith for a little bit, because obviously he has a bit of a reputation for letting in soft goals. His career average goals against of 2.70 would seem to indicate, maybe he was behind a poor Coyotes team. He's also, but he has at the same time 91.3% save percentage. So he might be a short-term solution. I don't know if he can take you to the Stanley Cup, though. I think he has the one trip. He has the one trip to the conference finals with Arizona, right?
Yeah, just the one trip there. He also has a gold medal. Don't forget that.
As a third-string goalie,
but he has a gold medal and he has a world championship or two as well, doesn't he?
Yeah, I wouldn't be too sure about that. I wouldn't doubt it because Arizona's always out every
I'm sure he's always the number one option for Canada there, yeah. No, it'll be interesting. I have high hopes for him, but at the same time, I have to be a little cautious. That's the word I'm looking for. A little cautious. You never know how he's going to be. On the plus side, he's only for 2 years, so if it doesn't work out, then yeah.
And I guess the other move that probably didn't grab as many headlines, surely not as much as Hamnick, was re-signing Michael Stone.
Yes, I think that's a perfect re-signing. I was a little worried that he was going to come in a little more expensive, but I think he fits that perfect number 5 role, third pairing defenseman, someone who can also step up if there's an injury in the top 4. He's shown that he can play with Brody last year. He should be a good fit on the Flames there. And then on forward, of course, re-signing Versteeg, Ferland, that kind of thing. Just re-signing players for really good contracts is really good. I love Versteeg. I think he's a great player, even better that he's from Lethbridge. Good guy to root for.
I don't know. I can't say that there's really a team that stuck out to me as being a winner. Really, there weren't that many kind of notable moves. I like Tampa. They added Chris Kunitz and Dan Giardi, which should help them out a bit, already being a pretty strong team. Losing Joanne, we'll see how that impacts them.
But they got Sergachev.
Yeah, they got Sergachev, which I think will definitely add to their team. Other than that, I can't say, there's not a lot of teams that stuck out. I guess you could say, Vegas, because they're starting from nothing, and anything that they do is a win.
Well, they got something now. They got Marc-Andre Fleury.
Yep.
Not that was a real off-season acquisition. I guess depends if you count the expansion draft or not.
Zach, who do you think did well in the offseason?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a few teams that did well. I honestly think Carolina's going to sleep on a lot of people. I think that bringing in a good experienced player like Justin Williams will be very helpful. Of course, going out and acquiring Trevor Van Riemsdyk from those Vegas Golden Knights. Another solid move. Carolina wasn't flashy this offseason, but they just made a lot of good, sound moves that will help build up their team. And of course, grabbing Scott Darling in goal, coming from a winning culture in Chicago. I would think that if he can find his mojo as a number one goalie, as they obviously hope they can, since they're paying him just over $4 million a year. So I guess they're hoping he can have a bit of the Cam Talbot effect. And if he can, so I would look at Carolina as a potential wild card sleeper.
Oh, for sure.
Coming
I
out
think
from
so
playoffs.
too. Yeah.
The other team I want to really bring attention to is the Dallas Stars.
You beat me to it,
There
Zach.
was more.
You beat me to it.
There was not a team that did more for their team than the Dallas Stars this year.
That's how much they've done.
Aside from Alexander Radulov, there's the acquisition of Martin Hanzal. There's shoring up the goaltending with Ben Bishop.
They got Mark Mathot from Vegas for peanuts. He got him for nothing, pretty much.
Basically.
They stole him. It was nuts. They definitely improved this year as well. They were definitely my top three with Calgary, I think, for most improved teams addressing the holes on their roster.
I'd even put them ahead of Calgary at this point. I think that Dallas is set for a cup run. Basically, they've got a top six that rivals anybody in the league, and their defensive corps is led by John Klingberg are absolutely solid. Ben Bishop, he struggled a bit at times, but he's been to a cup final. That sort of experience you can't replicate.
Yep.
And there's very few players on the Dallas roster, apart from himself and Jason Spezza, that have that sort of experience. And the fact they only lost Cody
Tyler
Eakin.
Seguin?
Well, yeah, I guess Sagan was there too as a young pup, but
A young pup. Yes.
before the horrifying trade, we won't digress though.
But Boston has no pieces from that trade anymore.
Yeah,
Got rid of everybody.
and I can tell.
Nothing to show. It's pretty bad.
So look forward to that, neighbors up north in Edmonton, when he trades away Connor McDavid for a package that will net you nothing in 5 seasons.
We'll see about that.
We'll see about that. Well, I guess Edmonton wins the off-season too. If you re-sign Connor McDavid for the next 8 years.
I think I would say they won if they had Draisaitl locked up right now. They don't yet. You didn't have to sign McDavid yet. You need to sign Draisaitl this year.
But the thing is, McDavid's cap hit doesn't count against cap this year.
Right. This is their year. Yeah, exactly. It's not counting the 12... Yeah.
This is going to be the final year you can get Connor McDavid for, $925,000, whatever it is.
Enjoy it while it lasts. Yeah.
So basically, you've got an opportunity to bring in a big piece, and you're not obligated to move Ryan Nugent-Hopkins for 1 more year.
Right.
So basically, you have a pretty solid number 3 center, who you're paying number 1 center money, or at least number 2 at this point in the game. So if they all won, then who lost?
As of right now, I'd say the Islanders aren't looking too great. They really, for having gotten rid of Hamonic and Strome, they brought in Eberle, but they haven't signed any of the free agents that they need to get signed. The only free agent, I think, from our team that they've signed so far is Pellich, which...
That was 4 years on a one-way deal? That just happened a couple days ago, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so I can't say that I'm crazy about what they've been doing. I think that they still have too many players from their own roster at the very least they need to get signed. Yeah, I don't like the fact that Dahan hasn't been extended yet, because that's the whole purpose in getting rid of Hamannek, is so you had the cap space to sign him. So, and then we're still, I think that's our only one. Next year's the big UFA year.
Well, yeah, there's a pretty massive signing coming down the pipeline, and if he isn't signed by the start of the season, you have to wonder if the Islanders fall out of contention in a very competitive Metro, would they consider dealing John Tavares?
I don't think so. I think that it'll be similar. I think even if he isn't signed by the start of the season, I think he might do a Steven Stamkos, where he goes and sees what there is, but I don't think that he actually wants to leave Long Island.
I don't think so either. I think he'll stay.
Yeah, I think he'll stay. You look at how many, most people or players who are drafted number 1 overall don't sign away from their team. They may be traded away eventually, but they don't generally choose to sign somewhere else.
Unless you nail Yakupov.
Well, but he got traded.
Even then he was
But
traded.
he got traded first. So he got traded away from the Oilers. He never signed away from them. Marc-Andre Fleury Marc-Andre Fleury got traded away, or as taken an expansion draft.
Don't forget about Eric Johnson in 2006, got traded from St. Louis to Colorado.
Yeah.
Kevin Shattenkirk trade.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, they don't choose to sign anywhere else. If they leave their team, it's because they get traded.
Yeah.
Or you sign a 15-year contract and get KO'd in a goalie fight, and then I'm going to be on the books till, the late 2020s?
Yeah.
Classic. I don't know. It's weird, switching a little bit from hockey for a second. Basketball, you see that this offseason has just been nuts. How many big star players are either getting traded, wanting to get traded, leaving their team, signing with a different team. It's nuts. You have to wonder if that'll ever translate over to the NHL.
My Thunder doing well this offseason.
I don't think so, because I think the reason why that can happen is because there's no cap ceiling.
That's true. I did, yes.
So that lack of cap ceiling, you look how much more NBA players make than an NHL player.
Like Curry. That's nuts. Curry making just over $40 million a year?
That'd be 50% of an NHL salary cap.
That's ridiculous. Who needs that kind of money?
I can tell you better to get the type of money as Russell Westbrook.
Yes.
And that's
OKC, get out of here.
And that's just their NBA contract. It's not including the fact that they have how many sponsorships.
Yeah, that's true.
Because, for hockey players, the majority of their money comes from sponsorships.
Mm-hmm.
Because the league, you have, the equalization stuff, where they have to make sure that it's 50-50 the players to ownership and everything.
Yeah.
So, absolutely, they would make more in general off of their sponsorships than their actual salary. Mm-hmm. So, I think that money-wise, your team isn't really kind of your main concern for making your money.
That's true. If I remember correctly, I remember hearing somewhere, there's a rumor that LeBron signed a contract with Nike for $1 billion or something for a lifetime contract.
Yeah.
It's
think about what sort of money that's going to bring in for the organization.
Oh yeah, for sure. But that's
all the kids
a lot of
walking
money.
through stores and pointing at LeBron James shoes, saying, "I want to be like him."
Exactly. Yeah, for sure.
Unless which one of his teammates just asked to be traded away?
Kyrie Irving.
Because of him. So maybe not if you're Kyrie Irving.
We'll see how that goes. It's pretty nuts to follow the.
Minnesota's doing well over there. Yeah, they acquired Butler this offseason, right?
It's been nuts.
I'm just so happy that the Thunder managed to replace Kevin Durant with a good quality player 1 year after losing him for nothing.
Mm-hmm.
makes me hopeful that things may go a little better this year.
You never know.
Anyways,
back to
hockey.
We're a hockey podcast. Let's get back to hockey here.
Oh my goodness! I've got to bring up as a loser. Montreal's a loser. Okay. Absolutely.
Okay, I wasn't gonna say it, but you go ahead.
Apparently, Jay's the only one who's like, my team won, and both of us are like, our team's stuck right now.
Listen, So you lose Alex Radulov. I think we understood that was going to happen, and you bring in Jonathan Drouin. A lot of fans say, "Oh, that looks like a wash," but yeah, it's essentially you lose Radulov for nothing. Then you trade away your number one defensive prospect for, I mean, a good quality winger who could do very well.
You never know. He could
do very well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, on the wing, it's a wash. You haven't addressed your number one center needs yet. When you should be probably talking to Edmonton, either to see if you can sign Draisaitl to an offer sheet, which you wouldn't have to talk to Edmonton, I guess, or trying to acquire Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, who could, might be worth taking a shot in that role, given that he was a first overall pick as well, and he probably wouldn't cost you anything too big at this point. Edmonton will be looking to clear cap space. He seems like it would be an ideal fit, especially Montreal's $8 million. Not to mention, though, you've also lost Andrei Markov, presumably. Right. Although I think as time keeps going by, the more time that passes and he hasn't signed, he'll return to Montreal.
That's true.
But you've still got all these voids, and you're sitting with this $8 million in cap space. Yeah, I'm sure 29 other teams would love to have $8 million in cap space. But if you're going to do nothing with it, then what's the point?
Yeah, you need to do something with that. It's going on too long. You still have the needs, like you said, so you got to do something here.
Yeah, I mean, Carl Alzer ain't going to cut it either. I mean,
a little overrated there, but
well, he's a defensive defenseman. Generally, fantasy stats aren't very endearing of defensive defensemen.
Side note: Canadians just signed Mark Strait to a 1-year deal, reportedly worth $700,000.
Well, that's not surprising at all. I think it was reported a couple weeks ago that they were circling around him and had made him a contract offer. Though in the $1 million range, I think that just about finishes up Andrei Markov, though. Mm-hmm. Mark Strait, he's played in Montreal before. That Swiss defenseman, remember him. He's a good utility player. He's one of those players who could play like Yannick Weber, who could play the wing and could play on defense. Power play quarterback, but he's getting a little long in the tooth for my liking.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't think he's going to be playing number 1 minutes with Shea Weber. Maybe.
Probably not.
Maybe second pairing, but does that mean they want Alzer on the first pairing with Weber? No, I hope not.
Do you have a defensive defenseman up there and then let Weber kind of do his thing?
He's not a PK Subban type.
He used to be more offensive. He's turned more defensive as time's gone on.
That's true.
He's got one form of offense, and we all know what that is.
Yeah.
Cannon from the point from the power play. Yeah. Which, I mean, I'm happy we have that, but, as each passing year goes, you better make a big move because he's getting longer in the tooth when you could have had the now 28-year-old PK Subban.
Still salty about that, Zach?
No, not really. I mean, it is what it is, but, it's...
Just a little bit
salty.
A little bit.
Maybe a little bit.
Yeah, okay.
I might end up being more frustrated with the Sergachev trade when time happens. Mm-hmm. But at least Drouin, you're trading young for young. Weber, I still think, in light of all the fantasy stats, I still think he's an elite defenseman in the league.
That's true.
But we'll see what happens. They better go out and get a number 1 center. And if that requires using cap space to sign Draisaitl for 8 years, I'll pay the compensation right now. Let's do it.
Well, but the other appealing thing to that is if you make it a high enough contract, you can also, if Edmonton chooses not to, you tie them up. You're gonna stick them with you're gonna do like Shea Weber, where suddenly you're stuck with this monster contract.
There was some sports writers speculating that Montreal would sign Draisaitl to an offer sheet. Edmonton would match, then Montreal would acquire Nugent-Hopkins.
That could happen. I don't see that out of the realm of possibility.
Yeah. What was the analogy? It was like going for the girl at the party who's like way out of your league just to get with her best friend or something.
Well, but at the end of the day, you kind of walk away doing well either way, because either you get Draisaitl, or you kind of screw over Edmonton.
Well, I would think
everyone loves to screw over Edmonton.
They do.
Nothing better.
Well, I don't know. I would think messing around with Boston would be pretty good, but that's...
Yeah, okay.
But you guys did that a couple years ago. What was it? The Flames held them ransom? Well,
yeah.
What was it? We were going to sign Hamilton to an offer sheet, so just do the trade with us right now?
Pretty much.
Let's just save a week.
Pretty much. That's good. Oh, man. Still my favorite. I love that day. That was such a great day.
I'm sure you did.
That was such a great day. Anyways, I have to get to my loser of the off season. Seeing that we've talked about Montreal for so long now. But I think my loser has to do with Montreal as well, and maybe their number one center hole, and that would be the Colorado Avalanche, who still hold on to Matt Duchene.
What is
after
Joe
saying,
Sakic thinking?
I don't know.
Oh my goodness.
It's all over the place.
So now
out
the
there.
word is that he's going to start the season in Colorado?
Just,
You can't mess with Duchene like this.
you're like playing
Well,
with his heartstrings.
you can, you just shouldn't.
You shouldn't.
Well,
He's not going to be loyal to you.
And his trade value is slowly going down with the passing year in his contract. 2 seasons to go, and if you don't trade him by the end of this year, 1 year as a rental.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, but you could look at the same time. He's 1 year. If it's a team going all in, win now, that could be appealing. I only have to pay you for 1 year. He can become like Shattenkirk.
He's only worth, though, what the market's willing to pay him.
Mm-hmm.
And the market's not willing to pay very much for him.
What did Sakic want for him? Again, what was
He wants a defenseman, top 4 defenseman who can play now on the roster.
Yeah.
For sure. And I believe there's a first-round pick also.
Was there an A prospect in there as well?
I would think so. The request from the Islanders, who I believe, is Hamonic and Barzell.
Which, I'm sorry, not worth
It's
it.
not worth that. Nope. Pass on that one.
Because Barzal should be up in the league next year. At the very least, they'll probably have him in the AHL.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
I mean, I don't see them returning him to Seattle.
No.
I mean, it's possible if they don't think he's going to be getting enough minutes, but I think he's good enough that he'll be in the league.
I mean,
He was pretty close last year, but Beauvillier just kind of outdid him.
oh, yeah. He won the WHL championship with Seattle. That's great experience.
Mm-hmm.
And he'll come back even better this year.
Oh, yeah.
But what is up with rebuilding teams and not doing well this offseason? Because not only do we have Colorado, but we've got Vancouver, who go out and sign a bunch of, veterans. You have Sam Gagner, Alexander Burmistrov, Michael Del Zotto.
Anders Nielsen.
This team frustrates me because they can't decide each offseason whether or not they're ready to rebuild. And even at the trade deadline, they trade away Burrows. It looks like they're finally turning the corner, and then no.
And then they re-sign all these people. It was a head scratcher. I was so confused when I saw them signing all these people. Like, what? Why? I don't get it. It's weird.
So what are they going to do? Because you have the Sedins coming up on contract.
Yeah, this is their last year.
They're going to want to win a cup. No?
Yeah.
And
I don't think they're going to do it in Vancouver.
Are we looking at a trade deadline bidding war for the services of the 2 Sedins? And worth well over $10 million for both pieces?
But that depends on if you want both pieces.
Oh, they've got no trades most likely.
Yeah, I don't think they go together or they don't go together. I think
that's the way it was back in the '99 draft, and it's the way it's going to be now. I guarantee you that.
That would be nuts if that trade ever does happen. I don't see it happening.
Carolina? They've got the pieces to do it.
They do.
Carolina has so many pieces down the pipeline. Might just be ready to convert and become a Carolina fan because the future is so bright for them.
I still see Carolina as a potential landing spot for Duchene too. I still think they have their room for him.
They've got the pieces, the defensive pieces necessary. Trade off the roster. You could get rid of Elias Lindholm and still have numerous defensive prospects. Jake Bean, Hayden Fleury coming up the system.
Side note, Sedins don't have a no-trade clause, they only have a no-move clause.
Isn't that more than a no-trade clause?
All that guarantees is they can't be sent down to the minors.
I thought no-move clause was everything.
Nope. Because Tavares has a no-move and a limited no-trade. Marc-Andre Fleury had a no-move and a limited no-trade. Alex Ovechkin has a no-move and a partial no-trade because he has to submit however many teams to be traded to.
I thought no-move covered everything. No matter what. You couldn't be traded, you couldn't be anything.
That would almost seem with the name of the contract, right? No move as in you were unable to move. One would have thought.
You would think, and I thought that too, but no, it's not. The no move clause just means that they can't be put down. Because Dion Phaneuf right now can be traded. he has a no-move clause, but Ottawa can ask for his trade list.
Yeah, so he's waiving his no-move clause.
No, he's a limited no trade.
A player with a no trade or no movement clause cannot be put on waivers clause, must accept the move by waiving his clause in order for a trade to go through and be accepted by the NHL. This is coming from the fourthperiod.com.
Because Bobby Ryan has a no-move clause and a modified no-trade clause.
Here, if I'm
Dion
looking...
Phaneuf has a no-move clause and a modified no-trade clause.
Here's my question with that, though. Is that because all these players don't have a full no-move clause? They are granted waiver protection, but they have to, perhaps in the contract that they have to put a list of 8 to 12 teams?
Nope. That's no-move clause doesn't protect you from trades.
Because I'm looking at a lot of players they've got the entire list here, who have, as you say, a lot of the names you're mentioning. The limited no trade clause along with the no move clause. So this is ridiculous. They sell Dan Girardi in New York. But there's tons of players here who don't have those specifications written in. Ryan Getzlaf, Corey Perry, Zdeno Chara, virtually all of Chicago.
Okay. Can I interrupt for a second?
If you have the details of
I do.
what it says, yeah.
From a website called Winnipeg Hockey Talk, a no-movement clause prohibits a team from moving a player by trade, waivers, or assigning that player to the minors without the player's consent. This keeps the player with the pro team unless the player approves one of these moves. The player has the final say. Some players will often have a limited no-trade list here as well. A no-movement clause does not restrict a team from buying out or terminating a player's contract. A no-trade clause is much less restrictive. It only places restrictions on a movement by trade. A player with a no-trade clause cannot be traded by a team unless the player provides consent. A limited, partial, or modified no-trade clause is often less restrictive than a full no-trade clause and depends on the conditions negotiated in the player's contracts. Often, with these no-trade clauses, the player is asked to provide a list of teams to which he would be willing to be traded to or not traded to. This list can change or fluctuate from season to season.
Yeah, because the name would always imply that you can't be moved.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what that goes for. I've always been under the assumption that covers everything, but the no-trade clause just means you can't be traded. You can be sent down, but you just can't be traded.
Yeah, because it makes sense of why a lot of teams wouldn't want to give away no movement clauses. They'd be like, we'll give you half of that. We'll give you the 12-team list or whatever, just so you have no fears that you won't be going to Arizona.
I remember reading somewhere, I can't remember who it is now, there's some player who just got signed and got a full no-move clause, and there's no way he should have got a full no-move clause. And then it seems like the NHL is just handing them out these days.
Well, it's currency.
Yeah.
You can maybe take $1 million off the contract for a full no move.
I wonder if that's something that'll come up in the next negotiations when the agreement between the players and the owners is
Can we not?
Okay, I'm sorry for bringing that up. That's
And don't say the word escrow. That will just give me post-traumatic stress disorder.
Okay, well, that's a discussion for another day, I guess. But okay, yeah, I wonder if that's something that'll ever not happen. No move, no trades, and we'll ever see bigger trades happening.
This is interesting. If the trade, that's correct, but if the player was traded, it's like in a PK Subban situation, I don't think you get the full no-move clause. But if they're traded before that clause kicks in, the team acquiring them can choose to void that clause.
That's right, because PK, I believe, lost the clause.
He did lose it?
I believe he did, because there was a whole deal about that on Twitter about the time of the trade.
Huh.
About how he lost the clause. And Montreal pretty much signed him for that money then. Yeah, again.
I didn't know that. That's kind of interesting. I always thought that if you got traded with your limited no trade clause that it was still effective no matter what.
Well, before it kicks in, though.
Just before it kicks in. Oh, okay.
Which I guess makes somewhat sense.
Yeah, PK Subban fully lost all of that with that trade.
Well, it's not like Nashville's been able to trade a defenseman making over $7.5 million worth of salary before, so I don't think he's in any danger.
Not really.
No one's gonna
trade away Shea Weber for PK Subban.
I'm
if
glad.
You didn't really want PK
I was like,
Subban.
no one caught the sarcasm. Like, honestly, Weber's making 7.8. So moving forward, let's take a look at the rest of the free agent pool and see if anything major is going to come down the pipeline. As was mentioned earlier, Montreal just signed Mark Streit this morning, so there's another name gone. But who else left out there? I think there's an obvious few big names still yet to go, or at least they would have been big names 5 or 10 years ago.
Yeah, I think the big discussion point this offseason is old players that don't have a contract yet. Specifically, we're looking at Shane Doan, Jerome McGinley, and, of course, Yager.
Oh, man, those traveling Yagers, they need someone new, man.
They need another jersey to add to their collection there. That's so awesome. I love those guys. It's so cool.
So which one's the best one to start with, then? I think Yager is almost the most interesting because he had such a successful offensive year, whereas it feels like Iginla and Doan are on the decline. Doesn't feel like Yager was.
Yeah, I think Yager is still the most intriguing out of the three left. I think he's the oldest, but I think he's probably still the best one out there. I think
he is.
He had a good season last year. How many points did he put up?
I don't have his points. I've
48,
got
I think.
I have his fancy stats.
Of course, I should have expected that you only have his fancy stats up.
I didn't do that much preparation this week.
All good as points. I think it was 48. Though.
No, but he's on par definitely for a first or second line winger. The only thing his shot suppression is better than what you're looking from the second line. I think even a first line winger. Shot generation is right up there. He has a ton of first assists. Really, his goals and ice time are just slightly below what you'd be looking at for a first line winger, but he's still high enough to play that. Mm-hmm. Which can't be said for the other two. Iginla's scoring is still alright. He's pretty close to being a second line winger, but his shot generation and suppression are great.
So 46 points last year. 16
points.
goals, 30 assists. That's a 20-point drop from his previous year.
But still decent points.
Oh, not bad. No,
right?
Not bad at all.
Very good.
And at the end of the day, you're not going to hurt your team by signing him.
No, he'll provide that leadership too.
He'll provide a lot of experienced leadership. He's been there and done everything.
Yeah.
So if I may ask, the fit looks like Edmonton. No? They need wing. They could have a good, solid mentorship for Connor McDavid. Not that he needs that, but...
Well, but I think the theory is that's what Lucic is supposed to be.
Yeah, I don't know.
The Yager's game more aligns with McDavid's game. Lucic is more of that power forward.
Yeah, I could see Yager having a bit of interest up in Edmonton. Playing with McDavid would obviously be a good selling point up there. I could also see possibly Calgary.
Calgary is one of the recent
one of the rumored teams. Yeah. I think he's a right winger. He'd have a good spot up there with Monahan and Gaudreau. Possibly replacing Ferland up there. It's a possibility. I could see it maybe happening.
Well, and guess who else? The other big name, of course, linked is, go figure again, the Dallas Stars.
The Dallas Stars.
Because why not? They've got everybody else in free agency. Let's add another one.
He did play there once already. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, he did.
Yes, he did play there.
Because there's Dallas Star Yager.
And this with the Vancouver Courier, should the Canucks sign Jaromir Jagr? So why not get another gray beard taking the spot of a
what do you guys think?
Kid?
I did find it intriguing. I did read it somewhere as well that Jagr said at one point that he did want to play in Canada, I think.
So that
he
narrows
did play
our
in
options.
Canada at one point.
I don't believe he has.
Oh no, sorry, that's Iginla. I hit one below.
I was going to say, Iginla definitely has played for a Canadian team. But Jagr, I don't think he's never played for a Canadian team.
No, he has.
Definitely not.
Yeah, definitely not.
Alphabetically, they're right below each other.
Well, he's been linked to Montreal every single offseason for the past 10 years. But Montreal's good on the wing now.
Yeah, they don't need him anymore.
Yeah, So there, I'd effectively ruled them out. Toronto, you just got Marlowe. I don't think you're going to be quite getting Yager too.
No, I don't think there's not a fit there. I don't think.
Is Ottawa, perhaps?
It's possible. I would think Edmonton and Calgary would be more of an option for him, but
Ottawa might be getting... I think Ottawa has an internal cap. They might be getting pretty close to that.
Yeah,
so
they're a budget team. Yeah, you're right.
Because they're sitting at $70 million right now. I don't think that with their internal cap they would be able to go out and get him unless they got rid of someone else.
Yeah, and considering they just got Johnny Oduya on the back end too.
Yeah.
mm-hmm. Oduya.
So what about Iginla?
I think
Edmonton? I
Again,
feel like I'm going to be saying Edmonton every single time.
and Calgary again. I think are both options that need right wingers. I just don't know. As a Flames fan, I'd hate to see Iginla up in Edmonton.
That's closer to home though.
Hate
That's St. Albert.
He always wants to play home. A player would always love to play for his hometown. Look at all the players rumored to go back to Toronto. Doughty, Stamkos. how true Tavares, how true those rumors are, I'm not sure, but
well,
I mean,
Drew Doughty will
part
see.
of Stamkos one wasn't it like there was some sort of tweet that he favored it or something?
He was just trolling. Let's be honest.
Oh, he was, but that just.
But I think in every player's heart, you always want to play closer to home. I mean, Versteeg wanted to come to Calgary to play closer to home. Look at all Hamonic. Look at all players going to Montreal, French players that want to go play there. That's a big selling point. I think you take a bit of a discount. So, as much as I want to see Iginla win a cup, it'd play games with my heart to see him win it up in Edmonton if that happened. At the same time, I don't know if I'd want him on Calgary. There's always been the rumors that he's had leadership problems with other players on Calgary's team. I don't know how well he would fit in the current leadership group. They've definitely wanted to go younger, so I don't know how well he would fit there right now. Plus, he's getting old. I don't know if he can keep up. That's the thing. Heck of a shot still, but he's not the best skater.
Yeah, offensively his numbers are still good. It's just his his other stats are definitely starting to go into decline.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. There's rumors going around he's contemplating retirement at this point.
At this point, yeah.
But the one who I think is most likely to retire out of the three of them would be Shane Doan.
Shane Doan, for sure. Little Shane Doan.
Was he not a healthy scratch at some points this past year for Arizona? I feel like he was.
I don't think you're wrong.
He was playing fourth line there for a good solid while.
Definitely got demoted out there. Not seeing anything online. If he
I guess it would just take looking up how many games he played last season, and assuming he didn't get injured at all, I guess. Although that might be a far cry.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. Here we go. He played 74 games last year.
So
he missed 8 games then. So whether that was healthy scratch or injury.
Well, even if that's healthy scratch, it's not a lot of games to lose to it.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know if it's significant.
Yeah. Okay, so I found an article on NHL.com where they make the case that the Coyotes were right not to sign Shane Doan.
He was
least productive season since 98-99, 27 points in 74 games.
He did have 2 lower body injuries late in the season this year.
Okay, so
whether those are actual lower body injuries or kind of minor things where Arizona's like, nope, not going to play you, just in case kind of thing. We don't know.
Well, part of it too, I think the reason why they're starting to get rid of him is to make room for they've got some young prospects that I think they want to bring on.
They're making
specifically Dylan Strome.
Yeah, they're making the case for Dylan Strome in the article. Yeah, he scored 2 goals since
After
Christmas.
December 23rd.
Really?
Yeah. He scored 2 goals. He's not at the NHL level anymore.
Unfortunately not. It sucks. I feel for the guy. Seems like a really good character guy, but I just don't think there's a place for him in the NHL anymore.
If I'm the GM of an NHL team, I'm not wasting a roster spot on Shane Doan. I'd be calling him to see if he wants to be an assistant coach, but I don't think I would be interested
Yeah, I would
in
agree.
wasting a roster spot on him. As for anything else this off season, are we virtually good now? I mean, the vast majority of activity comes at the early part of July. August is traditionally very slow.
Yeah, you got a whole bunch of players in arbitration right now, but other than that, hockey news is pretty slow out there. Still waiting for the Flames to sign Bennett here. I think other than that, once they get him, I don't see them doing too much more. Maybe still signing they still need a winger, possibly, but other than that, I think they're pretty much done.
Yeah, the Islanders are just looking at DeHaan right now. They're obviously in talks already with Tavares, but I don't think Tavares is in a hurry to sign right now. It doesn't seem like it. But other than that, really next year will be the year that the Islanders have a lot to do. Or over the course of this year, if they want to. They'd probably look at extending Pollock right now. He'll be on the last year of his deal, so I'd say that'd be a thing to look at for them. But they've got a ton of free agents next year, so it's kind of a matter of how well they're going to prepare for that this off-season. Montreal's just Montreal.
Well, it's as we talked about earlier, we're just waiting for them to spend the cap space. So maybe they've got a big trick or two up their sleeve. Carl Alsner reportedly said at a press conference a few days ago that Montreal was reportedly eyeing some pieces who'd be able to help out.
Yeah, I remember hearing about that too.
So what is he privy to? Why is management sharing that with him? Incentive to sign? I don't know. Although he apparently was eyeing them right from the start, so...
Yeah.
But that should just about wrap up discussion on the NHL off-season. Up next, the Trivia Challenge. Take it on. And here we go. It's time for our second ever Trivia Challenge. The score from last time remains Lauren 1, Jalen nothing. The rules of the Trivia Challenge are simple as follows. Each of their 2 contestants will be asked 3 questions on a certain topic. The topic this week is free agent signings, some of the biggest in NHL history. Best, worst. And from that point, there will be 3 questions. Whoever scores the most points gets more questions right, wins. However, the third question has an option to be worth double points in exchange for making the question harder. So you can go for the win or perhaps the tie. So it will always remain interesting to the end of the game.
Okay.
If it's tied after 3 rounds, then we are going to go to the sudden death shootout. Well, the sudden death round of the shootout.
I guess.
It's all a shootout anyway.
Extra
Shootout of the shootout.
The extra rounds of the shootout.
So I guess we're playing by NHL rules. The 3-man shootout is opposed to a 5. I don't know why we don't have a 5-man shootout. And I don't know why the shootout goal doesn't count as a goal scored. The winning goal. It's like a team.
Or why we still have a shootout at all.
Oh no, I like the shootout. But that's a debate for another time. Anyways. Does anybody have a coin? Who's going first? Oh, hang on.
First last time, Jay go first.
Yeah, you won last time.
And she's winning, so let's go with me first this time.
Yeah, alright. So you'd like to go first, Jalen?
I would, yes.
We're going to go back in time for the first question.
Oh, good. Let's go back, getting our DeLoreans. Let's go.
Great Scott!
Great Scott, Marty.
Great Scott, Marty!
Die!
Let's make like a tree. Get
out of here. Oh, man. Classic movie.
Alright, first question. In 1997...
I was only 2, okay?
It is a big enough name, though. Mark Messier
Yeah.
ditched the New York Rangers to sign a free agent contract with which NHL team?
Mark Messier ditched the New York Rangers to sign with the Vancouver Canucks.
That is correct. On the board, he got scared here in 1997, but
He scores.
he scores.
Top show. Where Mama hides the cookies.
We aren't playing NHL 2002. All right, Lauren, here goes. In 2011, Philadelphia traded away Jeff Carter and Mike Richards to make room for this player, who was bought out only a few seasons later.
Is it like Danny Briere or something?
Unfortunately, he was signed by Philadelphia, but that is the wrong year,
Oh.
though. This would have been... Why do you have to be mad?
Why do
Because
you
it brings Gal off.
Why do you have to be that?
I should have said... Yeah, signed for, goaltender signed for, $56 million. It was, $7 million for 8 years, and they bought him out after the third year.
No, the only flyer that I knew that I could remember off the top of my head being bought out was Briere. Or no, he got traded.
No, he was bought out.
Yeah, he was bought out.
When Montreal signed him.
Yeah.
Then I had to... My grudge against him had to die because he signed with Montreal.
Daniel Briere.
You remember
It's
that?
every time. Yeah, the classic.
That was a thing in high
He
school.
had to spit every time you said Daniel Briere.
Well, that's like the corner gas Wolderton thing.
Oh, yeah.
That's the only reason why I was doing it. I really like that show too. Anyways, I digress. We don't need to talk about my high school habits. Jalen,
Yeah.
the question is,
Yeah.
regarded by some as the greatest free agent signing of all time, this player left the Ottawa Senators in 2006 to sign with his new club.
You can't tell me who the new club is without giving it away.
I'm not saying.
I see.
Greatest free agent signing of all time.
You can't do Ottawa questions to me. So then I think of Spezza. Why do you do this to me?
Hashtag Spetagate.
Hashtag Spezzagate. Left Ottawa to go sign with a different team in 2006. Was that Alexei Yashin?
Oh!
No, it was earlier. No, that was way earlier.
Zdeno Chara.
Chara.
Zdeno Chara. Oh, man.
Hashtag Yashingate. Stop asking me questions with Ottawa. I don't know them that well.
Well, then get to know them better.
Obviously.
Why should I bring up Daniel Alfredson next time?
Keep that in mind.
I told him it was a misdirect, just bring up Danny Heatley. All right, Lauren, you got a chance to square things. In 2006, the superstar free agent left the New Jersey Devils to sign for less money in the Western Conference to play with a family member.
What year is this?
2006.
It's not Parisi, is it? No.
Parise, he was a 2003 draft pick.
Yeah.
Say the question one more time.
2006, superstar New Jersey Devil left the Devils to sign in the Western Conference for less money in order to play with a family member of his. I think we're allowed to give the family... Are we allowed to give the family member? We are? Okay. His brother. Are we allowed to give the Western Conference team? No? Okay.
I have no idea.
Are we allowed to give the state? Oh, we just gave something away. Oh, okay. So not a Canadian team.
Oh!
I don't know it.
It's Scott Niedermayer.
Niedermayer. You could have said California. I think that would have narrowed it down a bit, but I still don't think she would have gotten it.
No.
You're still in the lead.
Still in the lead.
I told you, my brain right now is just World War I stuff.
Are you going to play it safe, go for the 1 point, the safe point, or are you going to go for the win?
I learned my lesson last time. Let's go for 1 point, Zach.
Alright, regarded by some as the worst free agent signing of all time, this 2013 Toronto Maple Leaf was suspended before playing a single game with his new club.
Suspended before even playing a single game? As he tries to think of players.
The other big part is it's Toronto.
He played with Toronto and signed with someone else?
No, he
got
signed by Toronto.
In 2013. What's his name, I think? Is that...
No hint, Sparky, right? No?
Sparky?
He's our producer.
Oh, Sparky the producer. Alright.
I'm the producer.
Then who's the guy over there?
It's your imaginary
what's
friend.
his name? It's Colton something, isn't it? Colton. Oh no, I'm just thinking Sissons right now. Why Nashville? Why?
We're gonna put a time limit on this. Where's the Jeff?
Can I have a half point if I'm right with Colton?
Sure.
But am I right? I'm locking in, yes.
Wrong.
Who is
Right?
it?
Wrong. David Clarkson.
Clarkson. He was suspended.
I knew it was Clark. I knew it was Clark's. Like, that's in there. Can't think of which one it is.
Right.
David Clarkson. Suspended 10 games for leaving the bench in a preseason game
Right,
against
that was the thing.
Buffalo
Right.
Sabres. Jalen.
You could have said, like, I don't know.
And what is going on with Jalen? Oh no.
He's choking. He's choking. He choked.
Lauren.
But will Lauren go for the win or the tie?
I'll go for the tie. I'm not that stupid.
Hey. Ouch.
Alright, here we go. Marian Hossa was a free agent twice in the late 2000s in back-to-back years. Name one of the teams he signed with.
Where did Chicago get him from? Was it Chicago?
Chicago is one of the two teams that he signed with. That was a bit of oversight on my behalf. I realized halfway after asking that question. Oh boy, that's an easy one. That's a softball.
Was that in the 2000s though? Or was that like in 2010?
It was for the 9-10 season, so it was 2009.
You sure about that?
100%. Locking in.
I think you should look that up just to be sure.
2009 off season.
Because he played. Oh, I guess you got
Because
the
he's
answer
been there
now,
for
right?
all three cups.
That's,
Because he's been there for 010.
Right, they won it in 20. Oh, right.
Yeah,
right.
2010. What?
Other two
2010,
answers would have
13,
been
15.
Detroit and or Pittsburgh, correct?
nope. Pittsburgh would not have been a correct answer because he was traded there from
Right,
Atlanta.
he got traded. Correct.
So, yeah, that Chicago one, though, ooh, that's not a good look for the Trivia Master. The
Ooh.
Trivia Master just redeemed himself by ensuring it was 2009.
Okay.
Anyways,
and now we go
we're
to
going
the
to send it out.
tiebreaker.
This is exciting. This is exciting.
Shootout.
There. Dun dun. Dramatic heartbeat music playing in the background.
Who wants to be in front?
Dun, dun,
How does this work? Do we both?
Simply, there will be a question asked. All I need to see at this point is I'm going to be holding this, I guess it's
Hair
bracelet
tie?
up. Whoever
It's a
grabs
hair
it first.
tie.
I don't know what it is. It's just lying around. I just picked it up.
That's kind of what my basement looks like.
That whoever grabs it first and gives the correct answer wins. If nobody can get it on the first attempt, we're going to make the question easier. You got it?
Yeah.
Rules clear? All right. In 2003, these two players signed themselves as a package deal to the Colorado Avalanche.
We need both players.
Both players. They're they're essentially, you can't say one without saying the other, basically. And no, of course, it's not the Sedines, but they were regarded as one of the elite tandems that played in the early 2000s. Well, late 90s, early 2000s. They are both going to the Hockey Hall of Fame this year.
I know. I can't remember who's going to the Hall of Fame. Zach, I'm in summer mode.
One was a Canadian and one was a Finn.
You might as well just give us the names and see who can grab the bracelet faster.
They played in California together. One is regarded as the greatest Finn of all time. The other one is regarded for a famous moment in 2003, in which the person calling the game said, "off the floor, on the board."
My mind is totally gone right now, Zach. This isn't helping at all.
They both played for Anaheim. One won Olympic gold in 2002 with Canada. One won the Stanley Cup with Anaheim in 2007 and retired just a few short seasons ago in 2014.
It wasn't him.
He was I don't... Yeah.
This is...
Think of that one.
Oh, man. This sucks.
If I have to do the next hint, the bracelet's going to be grabbed so quickly, it's not even funny.
You can't pull it away when I try to grab it.
You're not grabbing it for real, man. You're just reaching out for it. One was captain of Anaheim. He was number 9. He played NCAA hockey. One's nickname was the Finnish Flash. Oh my goodness.
They signed with Colorado?
With Colorado for one season. It didn't quite work out for them. It's back without a salary cap. They wanted to go together to Colorado. They left their respective clubs in Anaheim and San Jose at the time, even though they both played together in Anaheim in the late 90s. One scored 76 goals in his rookie season.
This guy, I didn't... Teemu Selanne
and
Paul Kariya.
You got it?
I thought that's who it was, but I don't remember them playing for Colorado.
Oh my goodness. Paul Kariya.
Selanne played for Colorado?
For one season.
What?
It was one of the biggest free agent moves of all time to grab not one, but 2. Both Paul Kariya and the captain of Anaheim at the time, elite goal scorer, and Teemu Selanne.
I'm not trying to... I had that. I had no idea that they played for Colorado. That was what was throwing me off.
Did you even get to the fact that Selanne was one of the answers? No. Okay.
I haven't been watching hockey.
I thought the Hall of Fame thing would have given it.
Well, I thought so too, but...
Did we not look at the Hall of Fame inductions?
I totally forgot. No. Zach, I'm in summer mode. I'd rather be on the beach right now.
I've been in France for 2 weeks.
The Hall of Fame inductions were before you left, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that was
Do you know how much time it takes to get ready to leave the country for 2 weeks? Not to leave the continent for 2 weeks?
It was
amazing. It's a lot of preparation.
It was a major news item that Paul Kariya was getting in the Hall of Fame.
I won. I don't know if I want to take the win for this.
This is such an embarrassment. I almost want to award no.
Neither of you win.
I'm especially ashamed at you. First, you couldn't get Chara, and then this. You're practically winning this by default. That's not even really a win at all. If you want to take the embarrassment of having this count as a win, then fine.
No, I'm still going to take the points. I need any points I can get. But, man, I am 100% honest. I am not proud of this win. This is a greasy win.
This is honestly still a win for Lauren. It may say you, but basically she's up 2-0.
No, the official score sheet says 1-1.
Right when you thought you didn't need any more redemption. Next week, you're going to need some more redemption. Let's put it like that. And on that note, thank you so much for tuning in with us this week. And we invite you to join us next Tuesday as we continue to explore the issues surrounding the NHL. For Lauren Smith and Jalen Corver, I'm Zach Hampton, signing off and wishing you good night.
Light that lamp.